Well, hey there folks, this is Vlad from Reviewer Gear, and today I wanted to review a couple awesome first aid kits. They are from Surviveware. This here is the waterproof first aid kit, and this here is the survival first aid kit. They're both aimed at first aid, and this one is a little bit more aimed at first aid in the outdoors, or maybe if you're, in a remote area. So, these are designed and created by a family-owned company out of Virginia. Pretty cool backstory. You can go on their website. It'll be down below. You can read up on it. But just two people that kind of wanted a nice first aid kit. They put it together with the things that they wanted in there, what they thought would be useful. Oftentimes they'll go out and buy those generic first aid kits that have a bunch of Band-Aids and, maybe a couple gauze pads or something, and they're pretty useless. These aren't like that. We'll break into them here in a second when we'll look at them. So, the waterproof one comes in a very nice bag, fully sealed zippers, little loops on the back here to attach it to maybe a raft or whatever, a kayak or a paddleboard. Very durable material. Both of these, by the way, the bags on them are very nice, very durable, super modular. They have, MOLLE on the back. This one has MOLLE on the front, little loops here. This one has Velcro. Just very nice packaging. So they both have a little clasp on top that undoes. And on the back they have a huge Velcro pad here. So you can take that off completely and have just the bag. Or you can, attach this part onto like a backpack or a vehicle, and then if you need it, you can just grab it and pull it off. So it's kind of ready to go. You want to clip it and pull it off. So very nice. This one especially has very nice container. The nice zipper pull. Very durable zippers on it. Nice little handle here. So if you're wearing like big bulky gloves, if you're out in the cold water or something, you can grab it and open it up. So there's that one. And then this one also has a very nice durable zipper, not waterproof, just a very bulky, tough zipper. And here they are. So here inside we have everything categorized and labeled in pouches. There's a poncho in here, cotton gauze and wound cleaning items in there. That's all that was in there. Adhesive for dressings and for minor wounds. There's some small bandages in there, and then we have some wound closures, so kind of like steri strips or whatever those would be called. It's just something to close up a bigger wound. And we have some gel to put on burns or irritation, maybe basically to soothe your skin and calm that down. And then some skincare wipes in here just for hygiene to clean stuff off. We have antiseptic towelettes and alcohol swabs in there. So a lot of just wound care stuff here. Over here we have more bandages, some pressure bandages, some tape in there, which is a really nice hypoallergenic tape in here. And let me show you what kind of tape specifically it is, because there are different kinds of tape. So it looks like paper tape in there. Which usually does a pretty decent job of holding on your bandages or whatever. And then up here we have just some cotton balls if you need to, apply something to a wound or something like that. All in there. Also, there is a CPR kit, which has some basic instructions, and then a set of gloves and a barrier. So pretty basic, single-use type of thing, but pretty important to have, protect yourself when you're helping others. So that's all in there. And this, by the way, you can detach and store separately if you need to. If you need just, want to have that on you at all times or something like that. For some reason, there are like 3 whistles in here. So here's the first one. Little aluminum whistle. Second one is here on this paracord bracelet. Not a huge fan of the paracord bracelets myself, but it's in here. The little clasp on there. the little knife and a little serration on the back. Not particularly sharp, but you could pry something open. There's a whistle on that, and I guess you could call this a fire steel. It's about 3/4 of an inch long. Let's see if I can do this without cutting myself. So, if you're really skilled with a fire steel, you might be able to get a fire with that, but I would definitely practice beforehand. So there's that in there. Over here we have some biodegradable wet wipes. You know, if you need to go to the bathroom or if you need to get something cleaned up. And you can buy replacements of this stuff on their website if you want to, or just put regular ones in there. Further over here, we have a couple glow sticks. Break them, and they glow for probably 8 or 12 hours or something like that. We have a couple safety pins here for the triangular bandages, which are in here. And then here, this is interesting. They call these splinter probes. And what these are just lancets off of blood sugar test kits, but they're basically just a long, thin needle you can pull out and like dig out splinters from your fingers if you need to. Which is kind of actually handy because splinters are a really big nuisance and they can get infected and they're important to get out. Over on this side we have a signaling mirror with another whistle on it, so that's whistle number 3 on there. There's a signaling mirror. You need to know how to use these, but basically you just look through the hole and aim that at whatever you're trying to signal. That's how that works. Above that we have some tweezers. These are actually fairly decent. I've seen a lot worse for sure. Pretty sturdy, and looks like they have pretty fine control on the end of that, so that's good. There's a little flashlight, just a basic AAA flashlight. It works. I would store either the battery separately or an extra one in here just in case, but that's in there. That's good to have. Over here we have a pretty decent set of scissors or shears. If you need to cut off bandages or cut something to size or cut off pants or whatever you would need to. These are in here and they would work. They're pretty decent and fairly sturdy. Up here we have a triangular bandage and an emergency blanket or a space blanket. This is handy if you need to make a shelter or stay warm and protect yourself from the elements. That's in there. By the way, if you want to know how to use a triangular bandage properly, there will be a link that's going to pop up in the upper right hand corner. You can watch that video that we made. Check that out. There's a little handsaw in here. I'm not a fan of these. They're kind of a pain to use. But if you're trying to cut, small green twigs under an inch, you could get it. If you want to make like a splint for yourself or some kind of shelter, it might make a cleaner cut than a knife. That's in there. And it doesn't take up much space, so it's better, I guess, to have it and not use it than not have it if you really need it. There's a knife in here. Comes in a separate little sheath. You can put on your pants, just a basic nylon sheath. The knife isn't actually terrible. It's not anything, very high quality, but it's not terrible, actually.
What kind of steel does it have?
I don't know what the steel on here is. It's probably basic, 440C or something. Probably stainless steel. But, there's a liner lock in there. It's not too wobbly. Fairly sharp out of the box already, so that's good. Nice little stud on there. You can replace that. Fairly good size. Fits well in the hand. There's a little seatbelt cutter back there and a window breaker. The basic kind of survival pocket knife. But it's not. I've seen worse, so good on that. A knife is important. And then there's also in here a little multi-tool. Now this is pretty small and pretty basic and not super sturdy, but spring-loaded pliers. I wouldn't put too much force on there. The handles are pretty flexy, but if you're trying to pull wire or fasten something, that could work. And there's a couple other basic tools on here. On the front, there's a little zipper with personal on it, so you can put in here your personal items, maybe your specific medications that are just for you if you need that, that can go in there. So that about sums up the survival first aid kit. I gotta say, it's not a bad kit, especially for the price. I think this one is $80. If you were to walk into, an outdoor store like REI or Sportsman Warehouse or whatever you have around your place, where you live, you would probably find something of lesser quality internally, in terms of what's inside for $80. So, not too bad. And again, you can always, modify it and put whatever you want in there. If you want, specifically want something like a tourniquet or quick clot or something. Basically, if you're in a more dangerous situation. So that's the survival one. The waterproof first aid kit is geared solely at first aid. The zippers are a lot harder to open. They're tougher, which is, just a factor of them being waterproof. But it also is a lot harder to lay flat and kind of keep open. I feel like I'm tearing something down there, which I don't want to do. So this kit is purely directed at first aid. There are no survival items in here. On the very top, there is a little first aid guide. Not bad. It's a little pamphlet, kind of this water-resistant material, so that's nice. There's just some basic information on here on how to, poison control stuff and wrapping and bandaging. There's pages on the back to write notes. That's in there. And there's a pencil next to that, so you can use that to write notes in there. Again, there are shears. More of the little splinter probes or lancets are in there. More of the hydrating gel from the other kit. Now over here, a bunch more safety pins. Those are in there for triangular bandages. Another whistle is in here. Doesn't ever hurt. Over here, we have fever scan strips, which is interesting, but those are in here. You can check if you're getting sick or running a fever. Up here we have a couple sets of these, not Q-tips, but basically Q-tips. You can use those to apply ointment or clean out a small wound or something. And then up here, this is not related to the first aid, but it's a little container of lubricant for the zipper to keep it waterproof. So that lives up there. Pack that away. Here we have more of that tape, more dressing, bandages. Up here we have another space blanket, and in here we also have that triangular bandage. We have gloves here with the little CPR kit. We have a ACE wrap type pressure bandage in here. That lives in there. Here we have more adhesive dressings, which are basically Band-Aids, but that's a brand name, so we can't use Band-Aids. And here we have some more dressing for bigger wounds in here. And then here we have some wound closures, kind of like the other one, bigger Band-Aids, and then those steri strips on the back. And here we have more cotton gauze swabs, like from the other kit. Eye pads. You need to cover up your eye. If you got something in there or you got something stuck in it, you can cover it up until you get to the hospital. That lives in there. And then here we have some non-adhesive wound dressings. So you have like a big piece of road rash or something, that's bleeding or oozing. You can put that on there so you don't need to tear it off later and basically restart your wound. And then this Velcros off the back. So I'm not sure why, but maybe you want to pull that out, have it separately when you're treating somebody or something like that. Yeah, just that panel comes out. But there you go. Again, you can add anything into here that you might want to have that isn't in here. Oh, this one comes off too. If you're kind of know what areas you're always in and what potential dangers there are, you can add whatever you want into there. But really, a pretty good first aid kit, a lot better than the ones I've seen out there that are generic and kind of sold at the big stores. So for something that you can just buy and that you don't need to make yourself. It's a pretty good kit. You know, maybe into the survival kit I would add a couple other items, like a lighter. That's what, 50 cents or $1, because that fire steel in there is not very good. And then maybe a way to store water, like a collapsible water bottle or something. Something like that, just make it a little bit more survival oriented. But in general, it is a survival first aid kit, and it does, I think, a pretty good job of doing that. So, there you go. Hopefully that was informative and gave you a good idea of what's in these and, you know, how they operate and how they feel. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave those down in the comments down below. And we will put all the links down in the description down below as well for you guys to check out. And like I said, if you have any comments or questions, leave them down below. And as always, have a great day. Don't forget to praise God for everything that we have. And I'll see you next time. Over and out.